Now, how do we communicate with one another? Uh, Obviously, we are speaking here in terms of real changes of consciousness that have to do with change of self, change of mind, change of heart, change of body, change of being. And these breakthroughs of consciousness come precisely as that. Change of mind along with change of heart and change of body. How to communicate that, how to listen to someone who speaks to us, how to speak ourselves to others, how do we communicate with one another, what kind of language do we use? The allegorical language of Beelzebub's tales to his grandson is an example of a common language. It is a being language. It is only by way of a being language that we can communicate in common and to have any possibility at all of speaking the same language, having to do with real knowledge, real knowing, the very fact that we have any interest at all in a work by Gurdjieff, such as Beelzebub's Tales to his grandson, is so that we can, in the spirit of the commandment of Christ, love your neighbor as yourself, that we have the possibility that we really can understand one another. It is by speaking this common language with one another, following the material together in Beelzebub's Tales to his grandson, speaking that language together is a way for us to form real bridges of real communication, and then we have real exchanges of experiences, of changes of consciousness, of experiences of what can be called illumination, liberation, real changes of a lifting of useless tension. This is what Gurdjieff wrote in concerning the idea of weighing desires of the body, appetites of the stomach, and so on. You know, our lustful desires of the body, weighing that with the terminology he uses in Beelzebub's Tales to his grandson, with non-desires. You know, we don't have to do completely without sex. That's not what he's saying. It's does our interest in consciousness, change of self, and freedom for development of our true self, individuality, which of course is connected with what Gurdjieff in Beelzebub's Tales to his grandson calls higher being body. Higher being body, well, what drives us and what interests us in Beelzebub's Tales to his grandson was a point of truth around that we saw in it from our own experience, our own life experience. And it is around that point of truth, for whatever reason, that a germ, what is called a seed or germ, arises around which begins coding of a higher body. And it's difficult to speak of these things unless we are speaking in a language in common. And this language in common, you can see my own difficulty here. This language in common is what is called a being language. It's not just simply reading in a formatory manner, like out of a book, but it is a language which brings real change in our body, our sexuality, our desires such as they are, and in our feelings, our heart, our emotions,